Yesterday was a Saturday evening like many. We decided to meet at Anthony's house, a single house overlooking the farmlands that surrounded the town. Without much to do besides taking shelter in the many bleak pubs we have here, we usually prefer cooking and having dinner together, do some board games, or talk until one of us felt too tired to continue. But Anthony was quiet, even though he was usually the center of our absurd talks, while Paula looked uneasy. Our mood worsened when the aircon system gave up after just half an hour of providing warm air. Its display in the hallway could just show us an ambiguous message, fatal in memory corruption. Moreover, two brief blackouts stopped our risk game, with just our cell phones' lights and the aircon monitor breaking the pitch black dark. From my seat, I could still read that strange message on the monitor. I thought that it should have gone off with the blackout, but maybe a battery was keeping it alive. Maybe my mind was just looking for a distraction, for a thought, while we sat silent in darkness. Once the light came back, we finished our game, tidied up the kitchen, chatted about how securing North America can grant you a win in risk, and decided that we were done for the day. I hadn't come by car, since all houses in the small town are close to each other, and even though Paula offered to give me a ride home, I declined, saying I could take the short walk. I should have walked 10, maybe 15 minutes to get home. Paula left first, and after seeing off Anthony and heading out his house, I noticed the weird atmosphere of that night. After the blackout, the street lights were giving off just enough light to light up the street below them, as if someone dimmed them, as if someone pointed them to the dark sky. The town was a safe place after all, but this was making me nervous, and I had to slowly come down the stairs that from the house front door led to the sidewalk. The moonlight wasn't enough to replace the missing light on the street. It surely looked like a new moon night. Actually, I couldn't see the moon, or any star for that matter, but I remembered how the sky was perfectly clear at sunset, and the weather forecast indicated clear skies for the next 3 days. My digital watch could tell me the moon phase, but its display looked lifeless, with just 3 letters barely visible when tilting the watch, as if to study the imperfections on the surface of its display. FMC. The battery probably died out while we were playing Risk, but I was sure I bought the watch less than 3 years ago. The duration of the small button cell that fed it. I decided that the following morning I would have went to buy some pastries for breakfast, and a Sear 2016 battery for the watch. While I was walking home, a warm wind started blowing, unusually warm for a late January night, and its intensity was increasing rapidly, making the roadside trees loud and blowing some dust in my eyes. So I chose to walk faster. I just wanted to get home and go to bed. I thought about listening to some music or a podcast while walking to calm down a bit, but I had to give away the idea, as my earbuds couldn't connect to my phone, the only device they were paired to. During my walk, they kept connecting to something else, a device that kept being near me while I went home. By bringing them to my ears, I could hear some white noise, and the sound of the earbuds continuously disconnecting and connecting again to the mysterious device. I put them back in my pocket and thought about dealing with them the next morning. Annoyed by the odd situation, I took my cell phone from my jacket's left pocket, and I realized how any attempt to use my earbuds would have been useless. There was no reception. That means no music or anything I would have liked to listen to. My phone being useless on top of all the weird problems I had today made me feel anxious, almost paranoid, as if something bigger than what I could imagine was silently happening around me. I was almost home though, and with anxiety turning into panic, I started running. I was now roughly 100 meters from my house. I could see its front door when the light went away again. With no moon, no stars, not even some light pollution to lit the sky, I was in complete darkness. And after turning around a couple of times, I lost my direction. By keeping my right arm straight in front of me, I finally reached the wall that I was walking by. My phone prevented me from switching on its flashlight because of low battery, so I pointed the dimly lit display to the sidewalk, which was barely enough to spot any walls or streetlights that I could have hit. I slowly walked like that, trying to make out what I had in front of me, with my right hand brushing the house's front wall I had by my side. My phone's battery gave up, I guess around 20 meters before reaching my house. As I knew I was about to reach my neighbors, I proceeded with big, slow steps, with my front foot scouting for any possible obstacles. When I finally found my main door, by feeling it with my hands, I quickly found the keyhole and made it inside in what felt like a denser darkness than before. I reached my storage room, where I looked frantically for the flashlight, touching everything that I had in front of me. But I could only find some old light sticks for fishing that I never used. When snapped, they produced a faint greenish light, enough for me to come up the stairs to the second floor, where a hatch on the ceiling led me to the attic, and from there to the roof. I wanted to take a look to the whole village from the highest point I could reach, to spot if any of the other towns had some light, as to reassure me that I was still in the same place I knew. But once on the roof, there was just a big, red writing blinking in the sky.